It's been a hot minute since I've seen an anime that made me sit down and binge it. Like, after you see enough anime, you can just ultra instinct what's going to happen. Beta MC dies in a fight, but it's only episode 6? You think killing me would actually kill me as he resurrects into a Looks Max JoJo character. Villain hits us with the "I'm the biggest bird" monologue? Yeah, he's gonna get his ass beat. Oh, it's a rom-com? Prepare for 12 episodes of smooch edging. What? She's 4 feet tall? Yes, officer, right here. And this didn't take me 450 anime to figure out. Honest guess, probably 25. But anyway, this is why most new anime just feel mid to me. Not because the shows are objectively bad or anything, it's more just, I've seen this before with better execution type beat. Anyway, this is a long way of me saying that when my friend recommended me to watch Dead Mount Deathplay, I was a bit skeptical. Nothing on the surface presented this as an interesting piece of media. Even the title sounds generic and the Mal ranking wasn't doing any favors. My gut instinct was telling me to pass. So I texted my friend back saying, "Thanks for the recommendation, I might check it out later after I finish my exams," thinking I would just forget about it. Then a few hours later, with nothing new on YouTube and wanting to procrastinate a bit, I looked at my watch and said, "Mr. Incredibly, I got time," and gave episode 1 a shot. I texted my friend back 10 hours later saying I binged the whole thing. Dead Mount Deathplay has defied all expectations for me. Never would I have expected to see a human centipede skeleton god reincarnate into a kid's corpse, revive said kid's ghost into the fluffy, synthetic fiber-filled stitch walls of a stuffed programming shark, and be chill with it. Then, Psych Ward Girl, who was Patrick Bateman pilled at a young age, that took the hit job on the boy, in the most literal sense of edging, pauses to finish the hit job, gets shish kebabbed like a marshmallow, revives as a zombie, class changes into a vampire, and then the three of them open a fortune-telling shop to earn those greenbacks. I have so many questions. Exactly what was the author thinking when he made this? Why did the corpse god get reincarnated into Shinriyama Polka's dead body? Why was Sakimiya Misaki paid to kill him? And why is the outro song such a future anime Spooktober bop? But watching this show, I was pleasantly surprised to find out that in the process of answering these questions, it asks new, more interesting ones, putting you in that inescapable binge spiral of cliffhanger, answer, question, and new cliffhanger. Now some of you are thinking, "Bro, quit yapping, this show sounds mid. The MC is literally Mr. Magic Man from another world who can turn Psych Ward zombies into Psych Ward vampires, and talk to the undead. Why did he open an unsanctioned fortune-telling shop in Shinjuku and use cash in exchange for goods and services?" Now, unlike most 7-star anime, believe it or not, our MC is not that two-dimensional. He just wants to live a quiet, peaceful life, free of holy wars, crusades, and crucifixions for bad anime takes. Which is why he immediately gets involved with assassins, information brokers, the spirit division, the Popo, magicians, family inheritance scrambles, and my personal favorite, Japan's version of the Borg. But that's just what makes the show so interesting. Part of the reason I binged it was for these side characters in these factions. Kinda like how One Punch Man deals with Saitama's power creep by focusing on the side story of supporting characters. Dead Mount Deathplay does the same thing, except the side story builds into the larger plot. And this doesn't always happen in chronological order too. Some episodes will start in the present, the next one in the past, or some just the same event but from different characters' perspectives, in a spaghetti noodle kind of way. You know, Baccano and Durarara are two really well received animes that have this style of storytelling. And thinking about it, Dead Mount Deathplay honestly feels like a modern retelling of Durarara, just in a different world line. Both take place in Shinjuku, have supernatural elements, a similar cast of characters, subplots falling into a larger plot, deals with the underworld, a blonde-haired bartending character, and whimsical storytelling elements. Actually, they felt so similar, I popped on Wikipedia to find more about the author who made Dead Mount Deathplay, and it turns out they were made by two completely different people. Just kidding, they were the same author, and this explains a lot of things since he also made stories about vampires and, you know. Though I would say this anime does have more interesting fight scenes than Durarara, except the animation quality is average. Mal says this was made by Studio Geek Toys, which gave us Ningen Fushin. So not a high budget studio, but it is a huge step up compared to whatever this is. But honestly, I don't think the people on Mal were thinking straight for rating this a 7.3. And Crunchyroll's rating isn't that helpful either. So I decided I'm going to be another random anime YouTuber giving you his unwanted opinion for a show you already made your mind up. To beat the allegations, I made my own objective scoring sheet for anime qualities I personally think that are important. Oh, and it's in the description, so if you want to follow along and post your ranking of the show in the comments, I would love to check them out. It's 5 sections, each out of 10 points, so let's get right into it. Every anime has a beginning, but hardly any have an ending, which is why I personally value the execution of episode 1 more than a series or season finale. What the show did great was introduce the main characters in a concise way and set up the circumstances for a corpse god reincarnation in our world. What I liked was it didn't tell you how he got reincarnated, it showed you. And this kind of showing, not telling, stays consistent throughout the show. But also at the same time, I did feel they spent a little too much time on the intro fight scene. Don't get me wrong, the pacing of episode 1 was done really well. It's just that they spent 7 minutes on a fight scene that objectively has very average animation quality. And that's the same level of quality for the rest of the show, but it makes up for the lackluster visuals in its plot and mystery aspect that it sets up in episode 1. So overall, episode 1 hookability gets a 7 out of 10. This show definitely executes on a high level and was made by a seasoned author. There are tons of little details throughout the series that will get referenced in later events. The character dynamics feel human and each have their own story arcs that all fall into the overarching larger one. Each subplot doesn't feel like a rehash or filler. They always conclude with something that advances the story and begins the next story arc. My personal critique is that the main character doesn't really see any growth throughout the show and more or less stays a stagnant character. I get it though, he's like 100 plus years old canonically, so how much growth do you have left at that age? What's nice though is a lot of the side characters do see growth, so overall idea execution gets an 8 out of 10. The music choice does a great job matching the mood of the show. The OP isn't an anime gym hype song, but the outro is definitely spooked over bop, so audio design gets a 9 out of 10. Animation quality is arguably the show's biggest drawback for most people. Considering this was made by Studio Geek Toys and with their limited budget, this is a big step up from their earlier works. But also comparing the show's art style to other anime adaptations from the same author like Durarara and Baccano, they do feel in line for quality and aesthetic. But considering those were made almost 20 years ago at this point, what would be considered good quality then is now average for today. For modern anime, I would expect more vibrant colors and artistic styling like in Edge Runners or Classroom of the Elite. So overall, animation quality gets a 7 out of 10. Lastly, the pacing of the show is very consistent in a good way. There are clearly defined arcs in the show that flow naturally into each other like an unbroken stream of consciousness. Season 1 adapted about 26 chapters of the manga, which is currently on chapter 108. So this anime does a great job keeping you hooked with an almost one-to-one chapter to episode adaptation without feeling slow or boring. Overall a 9 out of 10. So tallying everything up, this show gets a 40 out of 50, which is a solid 8 out of 10 anime. Because a bunch of power series were released at the same time as this, Frieren, Spy X Family, Jujutsu Kaisen, etc., the series definitely flew under the radar for most anime fans. And since most people go off of mal scores as biblical truth, they may be turned off when they see a 7.31. Anyway, I give it the Kai-kun seal of approval for an anime worth checking out. After all, it made me procrastinate spitting for my finals. If you liked the video, consider supporting me by clicking on the subscribe button. Anyway, let me know what you think. I always read the comments even if I don't reply to them. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye-bye.